Mm, 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 mm. All right, Tooth. Hear me? Mm. Alright, gotta figure out how to do the dress folds, because like this is one of those things where you have to mentally now simulate cloth. Well, in this case it's still it's latex, but still, you know, same logic applies to a degree, to a large degree, really. No, the transition wasn't hard, and it's not that I stuck with CSP, it's just one of the programs that I'm currently using. I love it for the illustrations, but it's still missing a lot of stuff that I usually use on Photoshop, so I have not fully made the transition yet. I am gonna give a few other programs a try as well. I'll be great sweep bubble. I mean, I really didn't need any help for this. Like Linda did help with a few things where, you know, like where when something was just completely obfuscated where they put it, but generally, like, it's a very kind of a one-to-one program at most things. So it's not really a hard thing to make the switch, you know. Having said that, like I said, there are certain things that I am used to that are just flat out just not there, you know. Any idea of others off the top of my head? Others what? Oh, other Droid programs? Yeah, I have a few in mind. Can't remember their names right now, but there's a list. No, no, no. That statue never had a Kickstarter. That's a different statue. The Kickstarter statue was made. It was delivered. It was done. I have 2 copies of it myself. So, well, actually 4 if I count the unpainted versions. So yeah, that one was fine. No, the first one was the one that I initially pitched around because I wanted to get it produced, and I got refused by certain companies, and yeah, they were like, "Oh, we don't do stuff like that." I'm like, "Stuff like what?" They are just, it's the most tame-looking fucking statue design that you've probably seen in years. But all right, cool, no, whatever. Make sure to make the brat tinier on Vampirella. That's the most important part. But yeah, so in the end, we made an arrangement with a company, and they actually made a sculpt which I then helped around with, and it just never got produced in the end, which was like, you made it, but all right, cool. So that never in the end happened. So by the time I got to the one that I kickstarted, I ended up doing a completely different design, just because it was a simpler one to produce, because like the first one had like Lisa on this chair, which would make like a whole like composition much larger. So I decided I would compact the composition into just kind of them leaning back on each other, kind of a reference to the Volume 5 cover. And that one turned out really nicely. Yeah, listen, life full of disappointments, but then you kind of just keep going, and swim out of that shit. Prime One, Ali and Lisa. Listen, the one I just got printed for myself is basically that kind of a size. Like that was gonna be fun. Download. Or is it downloads? Yeah, because currently we got this one in production. Well, we've got this one being test printed for the smaller version, which is going to just basically finish everything. Uh, and these ones basically are gonna have like swappable heads as well. Like there's like 4 or 5 head sculpts, different head sculpts, and some different haircuts on for Ali. So it's gonna be nice. Yeah, this variant right now that we tested was about 60 centimeters high, and then we've test printed one that's half size that just to see whether the details will carry, and they carry really well. So yeah, there's going to be an STL released very soon. Yeah, I have a very busy desktop because I pull stuff for quick posting there. I save stuff there, so basically when I'm done with these save for web things, I pick up everything from the desktop, put it into a different folder that's just full of that stuff, and just keep floating it up. Yes, that's going to be an STL that I sell through my Patreon. It's just one of many of them because I'm basically working on a series of statues of my own, of a bunch of my characters. And for anybody not understanding what an STL is, that's a printable 3D file. So when I make a 3D sculpt, I can save it as with the help of a professional that I've hired to help me out. We prepare it for 3D printing, and then basically you buy the file and have it 3D printed or 3D printed on your own if you have a 3D printer. Those things have been dropping in price ridiculously, so it's actually become a very widespread hobby. Uh, but yeah, you can have a company do it for you. There's a bunch of services for 3D printing goes online now, and then basically they deliver it to you, and then you assemble it, you paint it. It's a cool thing for as a hobby. Do I own my own 3D printer? No, not because I can't afford one. I literally don't have the room for it right now. Once I move to my new house, I will probably create a sort of a 3D printing area as well. Because my brother-in-law is super hyped about it. I'm like, you know what? I'll get you one. Go nuts. I'll make him. You print them. Because you do have to have some setup there for ventilation and stuff. Because again, you're dealing with resins and molten plastics, so yeah, you gotta be careful always. Desktop. But the cool thing is like even on like 3D printer that we're using right now is not like the highest of high ends, and still like the freaking level of detail on that shit is just insane. Let me see. This is there's a better photo. But like this is the one of the versions of Lisa's head, one of them with the ring gag. It's just where's the one that's problem is zoom when you take photos of this stuff is like it's a small thing, so you have to set the zoom right. But look at this shit, like freaking stitches and freaking like pores and textures on leather and everything. Just it carries insanely well. Yeah, they've come so far. Like right now they're like I think what was it like 8K or 16K, which is just, and I don't mean $1,000. I mean like resolution. Like the resolution of 3D printing has gone up so much, it's not even funny. And what that means is like, with a high resolution, your details carry so much cleaner. Getting my prototype at that size wasn't cheap. I mean, it's like, I don't know, maybe what was it like for one full size thing? It was like maybe $100 of resin, like, and that's like with failures. So it's much cheaper than buying like a statue at that size. Like, yeah, sure, you have to paint it, so either you know how to paint or you hire somebody to paint it, and there's like fiddly work of prepping it, cleaning it, assembling, hiding the seams and all that stuff. But like, that's the hobby. Like, it's not cheap, but like, it's not insanely expensive. When you have a 60 centimeters 2 character statue by any company, like that's gonna set you back way over $1,000. Yeah. And mind you, I am actually paying to have it printed. If I was printing it myself, it'd probably come out even cheaper because, again, it's the guy's job. He's supposed to make some profit out of it, and I'm perfectly fine with that. But my point is, like, if you got your own setup, it's like, yeah, it's gonna cost you even less. There's entire YouTube channels that are basically about people who do their print and paint their statues, and it's fucking insane. There's a guy who's been watching Ground Affected, and there's a bunch of others, and it's like fucking. It's so fascinating to watch. Like, I'm not a fan of some aspects of the industry of it all, where it's like, um, people have made it an entire line of work for themselves to basically produce statues of stuff that they don't legally have the permission to do, which is questionable territory. Now I'm lucky; I don't give a shit. I'm making my own stuff, so yeah. And the stuff that's not my own, I have zero intentions of selling the STLs to that. So, but yeah, it's a little of a it's a bit of a wild west, you know. Like personally, I don't mind. I don't care. If somebody made statues of my characters and went like, "Hey, we're selling this," I'm like, "Cool. Can I get one?" You know. But like, I am not fucking Marvel or DC. You know. I'm not the one who's gonna eventually go like, "Oh, what's that? You're making a lot of money of our things." Mm, naughty, naughty. So it's one of those grounds that you gotta tread carefully. Cause like I got a really cool He-Man and She-Ra that I'm sculpting right now, and it's like, I'm never gonna sell that unless some company goes like, hey, we got a Hasbro license or whoever the fuck has the Masters or Mattel license, and just we want to pay for the statue that you made, so we're gonna produce it officially, like that. I'm okay with that. Not easy to explain to Granny when she comes for dinner. Granny should have by this point figure out that there are lesbians out there. Otherwise, Granny has been living a very sheltered, uninteresting life. Wait until I make Thaddeus and Vane as a statue. So I am working on that as well. Man, my house is gonna be full of statues. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great, especially when in a Catholic country a priest comes to bless the house after Christmas, and I'm just there standing next to between my Thaddeus and Vane and Lalaya and Eureka and Ali and Lisa, and I'm like, go on, I'm listening. I joke, of course, but it's just funny. Like Granny knows, Granny had a wilder life than you can imagine. Yeah, basically, I've already started on that one, but like, kind of, I have this really cool like composition between the two of them also. Uh, but like the problem is like one of those still where with the cupid with the QB, I'm still trying to figure out how am I gonna ignore the terrible skin material. I don't know what the fuck I was doing there. Oh, it's an older piece anyways. So I still have to finish, but I still have to figure out like how I'm gonna make the composition work because it's always one of those like, do I include their wings? Because if I include their wings, this is where it gets complicated. Because their fucking wings are massive. They got those really crazy large butterfly wings, and it's like, I guess technically I could add the wings to Vane on this one and just make them like a flowing cape or something like that would work. Because Buffett is gonna have spread wings, and that's a lot of fucking space. It's gonna be her and fucking Savathun here just fighting for the shelf space. Buffett's gonna win though. Mm. Hey, Shield. Don't leave out the books. Oh man, that was so fucking good. So for those of you who don't know, one day it was just like literally the priest came early. It's a Catholic country. We have this custom where around the Christmas time, the priest comes to goes around town and like does the blessings of houses. And it's like doesn't matter if you're fucking Catholic or not. Like you're just kind of like, yeah, hello. But so he came to the small apartment that Linda and I were in. And we're like, yeah, hey, priest, yeah, all right. I have to bless the house. And it's like everything's nice and clean, except here's the thing. On the table, right there in the kitchen, stood a book. Linda and I, at the time, were big fans of Diablo 2, the video game, and we played it unhealthily a lot. So we were like, hey, what else is there about Diablo 2? So there was this cool book that we bought in a bookstore called Diablo 2, The Black Path. There's just kind of like fucking devil and the pentagram and shit on the cover. It's like it's just fucking satanic as shit if you look at it without knowing what the fuck it is. And it's called Diablo: The Black Path. It's on the fucking table, and I'm just like, turning around so that priest looking at us does not look at the fucking table. So yeah, that was just. It's like, oh, what are you reading? What are you doing, young ones? Oh, nothing, just us enjoying the good book. Oh, the Bible? Sure. It just cracked me up so much. Yeah, the wings are gonna be clip-on in general. Basically, just I have to figure out how I'm gonna resolve it. Like either with like really heavy. Well, actually, that's not for me to resolve. That's gonna be for the guy that I hire to prep stuff for test print to resolve. I'm gonna be like, buddy, thank you. Guess what? It's your problem now. Y'all need Jesus. Yeah, turns out they were right. Video games will send you to hell. Cue Doom music. It's like, Mom, I've killed the devil many times, okay? I know a little bit something about it. In fact, in Diablo 2, I got the devil on farm, okay? I got the spec'd out hammered in, okay? I just kinda rush in, teleport my way in, pop the fucking shrines, and just whoop, 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 and then I see what the devil drops for the loot. That's how much I disrespect the devil. I killed the devil on hell difficulty, and all I got were Sigon's Greaves. I want that as a t-shirt. There's like fucking maybe one person in the chat that maybe knows what I'm fucking talking about right now. Too much evil here. The sanctity of this place has been fouled. The leader of the QB, is she another Fury or the opposite to a Fury or another ancient Greek demigod? That's for me to know and you to find out. Hey, a person of culture. I miss my mom. She used to obsessively play God of War. She played so many of those types of games. She loved the third person fucking beat 'em ups and freaking like God of War style games, Devil May Cry. She also back in PlayStation 1 times she was an absolute maniac for Medal of Honor. Like she 110% that game because you could 110% that game. Then yeah, unfortunately, life ends, and that's how I became not so fond of Halloween. But it is what it is. I want to draw a depressed pumpkin. It's like, oh, they're being weird again. Oh. Oh, thanks, Pernishkate. Thanks, Mazar. Yeah, my stuff is chronically imperfect and unfinished, but it is complete. And that's really the best one can always hope for, is to have the ability to do a thing where, even when you didn't just hyper detail everything, it feels complete. Took me a long time to actually master that. The problem is still sometimes I feel the pull of just going like, that you just want to go ape shit on this and just fucking detail everything, and it's like it's kind of hard to, you know, deny those voices in your head at times, but it is for the best. Did I try Vessel of Hatred yet? No, I wasn't that big of a fan of Diablo 4. I love the story, but itemization fucking sucked. Like, holy shit. Ran out of shit to do so fast because like the only thing left to do was to farm maybe for a microscopic chance of an ultra rare super unique that literally was like, hey, the whole world has been playing the game for a month and nobody dropped one. Are you shitting me? Like at that point, it's like, well, this isn't gameplay anymore. This is stupid. This is just an exercise in stupidity and stubbornness. So I quit it. I'll probably come back to the game and play through it at a later point when the content has really taken its stride and the itemization has properly kicked in. Because initially we were supposed to get runes and sets and all that stuff, and none of it's shipped. And it's like, you know what? It's Diablo. I'm not missing out. If I start later, I just get to fucking come to a complete game. How do I feel about cosplaying my comic book characters? I couldn't pull it off. But about other people cosplaying it, fuck yeah. Like I've received so many wonderful cosplays, and every fucking time my jaw drops. Listen, it took me about 20 plus years to master not listening to every stupid shit that the voices in my head say. So it wasn't an easy process. Dressing up as a bipolar pumpkin. Truly peak cosplay. Listen, at this point, me putting on a corset would actually probably be good for my spine. Not even gonna lie. Like, there are days when I'm like, my lower back is killing me. I'm like, yo, if I put a corset on and just tighten that shit to the point where my spine is sitting straight, worth a worth a try. What's my take on the new Destiny short story expansion? It's just, it felt like just like a little chunk of nothing. Like, the story seems like it's gonna be fun, but it's like, you know, like, I would have been okay if the story was short, but like the missions in general were just kind of nothing burger. Like, there's these like high importance missions that you get from Ido, and I'm like, oh, so this is where the actual like additional content of the season is. What do I have to do for this? Enters. I'll never forget. Me and my buddy, we entered together. We're like, oh, so this is where the challenge is. Like, this is where we have to gamer up. We loaded the mission. 2 minutes timer. I'm like, oh shit, it's got a timer. Kill 15 enemies. I'm like, oh, we're gonna have to kill more and more enemies. It's gonna be like waves, and we're all time. Kill 15 enemies. Done. I fired one rocket. What? What? Oh, okay. Next one. Oh, okay. I get it. So they're gonna keep like amping things up, So it's gonna be like more and more, and like by the end, it's gonna be like fucking. Here's a swarm of them. Second one, you kill 15 enemies. Third one, we're gonna need you to kill 15 enemies. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, it's wasn't the dungeon was good. That's all I can say, really. The dungeon was good. Weapons are fucking awesome. Onslaught, just in general, I love Onslaught. Onslaught is, for me, the best type of horde mode content that they've added. The modifiers are fun. Some of them frustrating. I fucking hate the one where ammo drops are explosive bombs that trick you. That's evil. But I understand it. Doesn't mean I have to like it. But like, I'm actually very much okay with all of that, because if I have a lot to play, cool, I have a lot to play. If I have a little to play, cool, I have a lot to work on. It's fine. Like, for me personally, it all works. But I can imagine how some people are not happy with that. Also, there's the matter of like, on one end, I'm very happy that I got the icebreaker on my first clear of the dungeon. On the other end, it's like, oh shit. Kinda don't have a good reason to run the dungeon anymore. It's like, well, but you can get a grenade launcher with like Ambitious Assassin and freaking bait and switch. I'm like, I got that. I got that from before. It's fine. Like, I only need so many of those. Then I get a roll of that from Onslaught as well. It's just like, see, that's what I mean. I really do have to go back to Cyberpunk. I got the expansion, but I never got the time to actually sit down and play it, because I've started a new playthrough, and when you start a new playthrough of Cyberpunk, that means you got yourself a fucking city to go through. And like, they weren't fucking around. They just made a fucking that whole ass city. There's like so much shit in it. Yeah, the RNG. Oh my god, I still remember when I was doing the title for the Last Wish raid a long time back, when Last Wish raid was still new. I got the flawless like very early on. I got everything except I couldn't get that stupid key for that ship or 1000 voices. I had to clear that raid over 100 times in order to finish the fucking seal and get the title. And that's when I realized I fucking hate titles with RNG in it. Like, a title should not be RNG dependent. I'm sorry. A title is a tribute to your skill as a player, to your commitment, not to the fucking luck of whether or not a stupid item will drop. And if I was telling you this close to that time, this whole little speech of mine would have way more profanity. Cause my God, I was I was salty about that. Okay, I was saltier than a pile of beef jerky. Okay, like it was horrible. Also, over time, like my like obsession with Destiny and its hard content has kind of waned. Like it's kind of gotten to a point where it's like I really don't feel like I need to prove myself in the game anymore because it's just like for a while, like I was super fucking committed to it. I was doing like flawless dungeons and all that shit. Like I was doing all the master stuff, day one raiding. I was there, like we were kind of filling in team of randoms usually, so I didn't always get the day one clear because well, LFG is what LFG does. But like I always loved doing that content, and these days, like we were doing the contest mode dungeon, we gave up with the first real boss after a while because we was just like, what's why do we even bother? Like, it's just like we're all kind of just like, it's cool, it's fun, it's just it's like you die a few times to a stupid thing, and you're just like, eh. Back in the day, I'd be like, no, we're fucking committing. I'm going to LFG. I'm going to continue this whether you like it or not. Like nowadays, it's just like, eh. Oh, I know what Cage Suit he's talking about. You know, in the first Doctor Strange movie, where he's fighting, what's his name, Mads Mikkelsen, villain, and like he tosses like this weird thing at him, this weird contraption, and it just kind of spreads, and it's kind of like a weird metal cage bondage suit thing that just traps him. And like I remember that because I remember that exact scene in the way where it's just in that one pose, it just goes and straightens his spine aggressively. I'm like, I understand this. This seems like it would be useful. So very well done, Squid. Ah, Kingsfall? Yeah. I love that raid. Also, I flawless that raid in Destiny 2, and like the shader that we got at first was just the most useless, ugliest shader that didn't work for anything. And then after like I don't know what was it, maybe with the final shape launching, I don't know if they did something to that shader. Maybe they like just turned around the channels or something. But that shader looks awesome now, and I don't know why. gotta say, I'm not a big fan of a lot of their color choices on shaders or just designs in general. A lot of their designs just kind of was like they just put wrap the Guardian into two-sided tape and have them roll around some garbage, and there we go. That's the look. It's like wow. But then they do have winners, so I'm okay with that. And sometimes you just kind of want to look like a dumpster fire of a Guardian, and that's valid. My favorite is that now they're doing a Destiny mobile game, and it's from the wonderful developers who brought us Diablo Immortal. And I just like the moment I heard that, I was just like, wow, I am not touching that with a 20-foot pole with a spear on the end of it. Like holy shit. Hey, Silver Lotus. Hobo chic. Yes, our guardians are very derelict. Yep. But that was by far not even close the worst thing that those people ended up doing. Because, just, my God, like, Diablo Immortal is a saga unto itself. Like, holy shit. I have never seen a greedier monetized game in my life. And the balls of those fuckers to go and say, we're not going to be selling you gear and power when they sell you literally all of the end game's power. That is the end game. The end game is nothing but money. And I'm just like, wow, magnificent. And then, and Bungie was like, yeah, no, these guys, this is who we want to do the mobile version, which is technically when I completely started like not giving a fuck about Bungie. At this point, like I'm playing Destiny until I get bored of it, the main game. And considering it has lesser and lesser demands of me to play it, I'm okay with that. Which is sad, because I absolutely adore the game. But, you know. Greedy assholes will fucking ruin everything, and that's just how it is. Oh, that's why it's acting weird, because this is on a wrong layer. What else is new, Stefan? What else is new? I know, fucking weird. Imagine wanting to actually play the game. Fucking nuts. I fucking swear, the only fucking company that actually figured out how to do that shit right were are the people who do Warframe. Because they're literally like, yeah, you can literally earn every single thing in the game by playing it, or you can buy it. It's up to you. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Like, there's people who want to fucking spend money like crazy. Go nuts. It's not like you're really winning anything. It's not a PvP game, so whatever. Like that's the one game where it never bothered me. Like, yeah, sure, somebody can go and fucking spend a fuck ton of money, deck out their character to the max, get bored of the game in 5 minutes, and just fucking quit. So there you go. It's kind of dig your own grave situation at that point, while everybody else is just playing the game, enjoying it. It's like, yeah, all right, this is a cool game. Let's go. Wrong layer. Sir, it says here that gamers want to, if I have, let me see if I can get this right, play games. That's just weird. Yeah, yeah, this fucking obsession of like, hey, everything has to be job. You gotta get on that grind all the time. What do you mean you wanna just relax and unwind sometimes? That's not very cash money of you, bro. Actually, I think this is like day 4, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think overall it's gonna be 4 days, about 3 hours per day, about 12 to 13 hours by the about 15 hours or so of work by the end, I think. Maybe. Oh, thanks, Roman. What's cracking? These pumpkins. Yeah, yeah. This pumpkin's exhausted. This pumpkin's had enough of this day. Yeah, this one's very happy about the stuff that it's seen. Everybody else is like, whoa, this one's kind of like, oh, I'm into it. Yeah, this one's fucking ecstatic. This one's like, oh, ho, ho. Oké, verder. See you, Jason. do I think it's realistic to dream of a job in the industry in the current state of it? Yeah, sure, depending on what industry you're talking about. There's a very big difference between, one subsection of entertainment industry from another. Video games illustrator or character designer, yeah, that part is a bit of it's a bit of an issue. My advice, focus on building your own presence online before anything else, because industry will spit you out, chew you out, and spit you out, and Uh, but if you build your own presence online, if you build your own name, well, you have something to fall back on, and that means a lot. So yeah, by all means, go for that job. Strive for it. Make your portfolios, send them out, but also constantly. And even if you land a job, especially if you land a job, make sure to maintain an online presence. You get home after your freaking day at video game mines. you, you fucking make some fan art. You fucking make anything that makes you happy. You post that online. You make a name for yourself, because sooner or later you are going to be in the way of some CEO's new yacht. So you're gonna be written off as extensive cost. And at that point, your survivability is going to depend on whether or not you've built an online presence. Like, I used to be a work for hire creator. You know, nowadays I'm not. I just make my own stuff. I am making an incredibly good living out of it. I'm careful about how I approach my work. But beyond that, I really have zero things to complain about. And I have no fears about, again, being in the way of some fucking billionaires, millionaires yacht. So, at the end of the day, your end game should be self-sufficiency if needed. I'm not saying it has to be your goal, but like you should have a spare set of like a sort of a safety net for you to fall onto. And a safety net usually means you build your own presence online to the point where you could technically make a living out of stuff like commission, stuff like, Patreon or something, without constantly worrying about, whether the next wave of layoffs is gonna hit you. And yeah, I know it's fucked up. You technically at that point are doing your job, and then more of that same stuff, like basically on the side. But yeah, welcome to capitalism. It fucking sucks, but it's the system we got. You gotta fucking swim through it. It's a shit stream, and you have no paddle. Good luck. You gotta build your own paddle. You gotta build your own ship sometimes. Oh no, I didn't start that as under a deniable pen name. I just had fun with the concept. Like didn't really give a shit about whether people like. You gotta understand one thing, okay? I'm from Balkans. To us, sex and sexuality is just kind of like we've been raised with that stuff early on, and not really like thought that much about it. Okay, like back in the 80s, 90s, old ex-Yugoslavia, like it was a weird time. Okay, so when I had a fucking pen name, so to speak, on DeviantArt, it was just my username, like, and I found it funny when people started, trying to fucking detective whether or not I was the same person as Nebeziel. Like I rolled with it because it was fucking entertaining, but like I couldn't give less of a fuck. The first person that actually went like, "Are you actually, Stepashage," where they phrased the question where I just couldn't do my bullshit of like, I was like, well, so this, that, and yeah. I was like, yeah, of course I am. I'm just having some fun, you know. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. The current approach is very distinct. Back in the day, it was a weird mix. Like, my stuff was kind of like barely connectable, cause the approach that I was doing at that time was something that was very expressive when compared to my usual work, which at the time was very kind of stiff and uninspired, really. So yeah, at the time it was a bit of a shock. Yeah, I know that was the most entertaining part because like all I had to do is say is like, do you really think I can do all of that and all of this? And then people just went like, no. It was the funniest shit ever. Oh god, how many times I just fucking laughed out loud and just showed it to Linda. I was like, look, honey, still works. What was my age when I found success in my career? True success, I was about 30 something. Before that, like I had like just kind of like my vision of success was, hey, I have a job that pays enough for me to cover my life, That was it. I didn't fucking strike it rich until Sunstone started rolling out, and then after that, fucking came fine print, and like all of a sudden, things started working out. I found what I was good at, and I committed to it. And like it's also like it's a lot of management really, because like at the end of the day, yeah, you have to understand that when you build an audience, you gotta kind of pay attention to that audience. You have to understand like why they're there for. Like, I've learned the hard lesson of like people who are here for Sunstone fine print. They're not here for that visual. Yes, some are. Some will buy just anything I make because they like the way I do things. They're fans of like either the writing style or the art style or both. But generally, most of them won't. There's people who love fine print who maybe don't love Sunstone. I know some, and like you gotta understand that, and you gotta understand kind of the numbers that you're dealing with. If one thing is completely dragging you down, maybe don't force that thing. If the other thing is working, maybe lean into that thing. It is what it is. But yeah, like success is something that's like, you will sometimes get lucky and you get one burst of it, right? And then it's like whether or not you remain successful is up to you. Whether or not and it comes down to how hard are you willing to go for this. And you know, I was pretty committed. Do I think there's a point where someone should just give up on that dream and move on with their life to do something else, art industry wise? I mean, it's art. Technically, you never have to give up on the dream, but you have to be smart. You know, like you can get a job that's not artistic in nature and start building your presence online through art as well. Uh, Create fan arts, create stuff that you like, get yourself fans. Some people are gonna be like, hey, would you be ever consider making this into a print? Or like, hey, is there anywhere where you can support you? Like, you can build that on the side. When I started, I used to do fucking multiple works at once and just, do art whenever I could. Like, it's not a thing that's easy to break into, but you break into it one person at a time, one viewer, one reader, one fan at a time. You don't people often put a lot of emphasis on this idea of, getting big, going viral, this and that, like the short answer to a long problem, okay? And like, it's most of the time it's not that. Most of the time it's like, hey, this person shared my thing and that attracted two more people. And now they are looking through my thing and sharing some of that stuff, liking it and commenting on it. And like, those people now that share, they're gonna maybe get a few more people's eyes onto my stuff. And you get enough people interested, you start feeling the motivation to work. Like, there is not a one singular path or to having an art career, and there is not one singular make it or break it moment. You never have to technically break it. You just have to make it one step at a time. Where's the potato? I ate it. My own success was never in, making it big in, Marvel or DC. Like, I've done stuff for DC, stuff that's been a worldwide hit, but I've done that after I've made it with a silly thing, with a thing that I was doing on the side as a fun side project to stop me from burning out. Sunstone was literally me dealing with burnout, was never supposed to be a comic, was never supposed to be anything really. It was just me going like, I'm gonna draw some kinky jokes about BDSM. Looks at fucking rules of DeviantArt, what I can show. Oh man, I can't show an erect penis. I guess I'm drawing two women then. That's it. That's how it started. It was no bigger, no deeper than that. I just started drawing. I was like, hey, there's these two characters. There weren't even characters. I literally was like, I'm gonna draw the most stereotypically looking Dom, and just some red hair submissive, just because black and red is just a very kind of iconic thing for BDSM. I had no fucking idea where I was going with this. I wasn't going with it anywhere. The idea was, I'm gonna make some silly jokes and some fetishy artworks. That's all. A decade plus later, it's a worldwide bestseller translated in over 70 fucking languages. The goddamn thing is an Easter egg in Elder Scrolls Online. Like, I didn't fucking expect that. It's just kind of you trip into this shit sometimes face first, and then it's what you do afterwards. Because it's like, I could have easily, at any given point, given up on it. I could have easily, started doing stupid shit. I could have had, like, at some point when I finished the first issue of Sunstone, I literally had a panic attack because I realized I was writing romance, and then I was like, the fuck do I know about writing romance? How can I turn this into a sci-fi spectacle? And then I started writing a plot for that and realized that was stupid and maybe I should just commit to writing a romance, and the rest is history. My point is, you don't real success will sometimes really often, in fact, take you completely by surprise because you won't be able to foresee what's gonna attract people. So my advice, can you get into the industry? Yes, no, you can't. Okay, cool. Still do art. Still post art. Build your own thing. Find a job. Bills have to be paid. We're all fucking have to start living as adults. But at the same time, that doesn't mean you have to give up on the dream. It means you have to commit to building it on the side until it's strong enough to stand on its own. And by that point, guess what? You can swap careers.
Is it possible to break into the industry when you're not fully committed to working on art, improving your fundamentals and stuff, considering that now the quality bar is way higher than 10 years ago? Of course it's possible. The quality bar is higher, yeah, but the tools to learn it and the tools to progress through it are much improved as well. Like you can go through these incredible tutorials that will summarize sometimes fucking a year of art school into like an hour of tutorial work. And you can have massive jumps in quality. And here's one additional thing. There is a benefit in not working on a thing all the time because it lets your brain process the learned information. It is the weirdest thing. Like Linda has this thing where she will learn a thing, but she will only master it like 3 days later because it takes that long for her mind to just fully integrate the new learned knowledge. So having something to do besides art that's gonna make you kind of not worry about it will often mean that you're going to integrate the knowledge better and faster without too much distraction. Because like one of the biggest things when you're doing art all the time is you tunnel vision. You start making mistakes and stop seeing mistakes, and that's a problem because then later on you have to constantly focus on fixing those mistakes, and all of a sudden you realize you're not progressing as fast as you thought you would. Meanwhile, if you had just taken a day off of it, all of a sudden you come back to it, you're like, oh yeah, of course I see where the problem is, and it's always like that. Oh shit. Still need to. Yeah, for life, you may want to extend that one just to a few days. Maybe a self-reflective journey. Maybe getting high. Yeah, of course. There's gonna be. Listen, people are gonna fucking outpace you. But here's the thing: you can outpace them as well. It's That's been my whole life. There were friends I had that were like vastly superior to me, and I fucking just outpaced them. Fucking started running circles around them. It's it's a matter of commitment. It's a matter of training. Um, you want to be a splash artist. I'm guessing that's the one who does like all those fancy illustrations for video games, for promotional materials, for loading screens and stuff like that. Problem with that one is like it's it's a very saturated market. So, Again, for that line of work, I would definitely combine it with a very strong presence online where you actually deliver first fan arts that will lead to commissions and all that stuff. Now, as far as how do you advance in that, well, it's very simple. Get yourself some fucking good references. You start working from those. You start exploring stuff. Like you gotta understand again. There are multiple paths to this. This isn't a one path map. Like, let me put it to you like this. There are people who, when I was younger, I envied vastly because they got successful in this and that and the other. I am now out earning them 20 times over because I took a weird path. Uh, I am happier than they are. Not this is not a comparative. I've heard their impressions and like the point is you cannot foresee this shit, right? Like somebody younger than you succeeding, cool. Oh yeah, no, they're in the AAA industry. 5, 4, 3, 2, fired. Like it's an industry of endless stress, and I mean endless stress. That's only been getting worse and worse and worse and worse about it. Take it from crunch times, take it from job insecurity, take it from fucking ever rising demands on a market that really doesn't have any reasons to have ever rising demands at this point. It's an unhealthy work environment. My advice: uh, work on your own art, improve on your own art. Uh, like if you're gonna go with something like commissions, understand what's popular, what's trendy, make works of that. Hell, try and become an actual fan of the stuff that's popular and trendy, so that you can actually have an emotional investment in the fan arts. You open commissions. You start building your again. Like you can do all of these things while having a just a day-to-day job, like fucking any job that fucking helps you pay the bills, and then you supplement it. And here's the thing: after working in a fucking soul draining job, doing some art feels like a goddamn medicine to the soul. And I would know because that was me during my first years. I was a night guard, I was selling fruit, and then I would get home and take any fucking second I could to draw. Because I needed to. Like, my soul fucking screamed for doing some art. And at some point, I got good enough because I felt motivated. It's as simple as that. My motivation wasn't to work in a AAA industry or this or that. My motivation was, hey, I just want to make money by doing this. And the problem is, like I said, there's this weird mindset where people are convinced that it's kind of a one path journey. Like, well, you have to go through these steps and this is how you make it. This is success. And you realize when you reach that success, you're like, I fucking hate this. This is horrible. I'm literally every day of my life watching people get fired left, right, and center. It feels like I'm in the fucking Squid Game at this point, where a rich person is betting on who gets fucking offed. And at the end of the day, there are other ways. Like I said, I've, I've been working for myself for, oh boy, it's been about over a decade now. And I'm loving it. It's very easy to be motivated to make stuff. Like right now, I'm gonna finish this to a degree. I'm gonna probably finish it off stream the rest of the small tweaks and details. But like immediately after that, I'm gonna jump into my comic into its backgrounds, and then after that, I'm gonna maybe jump into my novel, and I'm gonna fucking add a few pages of that because I can't wait to do that. And yeah, it's it's the thing. It's like that's I am happy. I'm genuinely happy. I can't wait to get back to my work. I can't wait to make more stuff because I know that the only people I have to answer to are the people who genuinely love to read my stuff. And when they're pissed, I know I'm doing something right because they're pissed because I'm late. And I'm like, oh my god. Like there were times on DeviantArt where people would be super fucking angry that the next update to my webcomic wasn't there yet. And I'd have some fans jumping to my defense, and I would jump into that conversation and go like, no, you don't understand. This shit here, This is pure magic. This means that I've made them care. This means that they give a shit. Like, they are so emotionally invested that they're legitimately pissed off that the next one isn't here, and I am. I'm eating that. I'm living on that. So yeah, it's and I got to that through a completely fucking wrong way. Like every single thing that was standard to how you do this in the industry, I just went the other way around. I was like, yeah, but how about this? Let me take this scenic route and that scenic route, and oh, let me make this mistake and that mistake, and got there in the end. Yeah, pa-da-pa-pa-pa. You're welcome, Danny. Don't give up on it. Don't give up on yourself. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's one of those things where, like, I very often get asked by people like, how do I promote my work? How did you do it? I'm like, the way I did it no longer works. Like, it's the fucked up part is like it's ever changing, right? But that's again, in a strange way, a benefit. Like, let's say, I built my fucking house on Twitter. Like, oh my god, I had so many followers. Then Twitter goes to shit, and all of a sudden, I go to a new place. I go to Blue Sky, right? And all of a sudden, like, it's a new ball game. Like, yeah, sure, my fans following me from Twitter helps me. It boosts me. But all of a sudden, there's new artists who come there and who are like getting boosted by this new way of, by this new algorithm, by the way how this site works. And all of a sudden, they get eyes on their work, and like all of a sudden they get chances that they couldn't on something like Twitter, because Twitter was promoting people with high engagement like crazy at the time, and it's like fucking burying every other work, which is again the big problem with algorithm driven fucking sites is that, but like even in those situations, there's different ways on how you approach it, and there's different ways of how you can get your stuff to reach. You use popular hashtags, you use popular characters. Like, this is one of those things that I've been saying a few days ago, where it's like, when you're trying to make it, you're trying to make it with your own characters, right? Best way to start, unironically, you do 2 fan arts, one of your OC, 2 fan arts, one of your character, 2 fan arts, one of your character. By the time you get enough people asking about who your character is and what that's about, then you kind of switch it around. You go 2 of your characters, 1 fan art. Then, one day maybe you don't even need the fan arts. I always say this, but all of my success was built on a foundation of nothing but failures. And boy, have I failed a lot. We're on Twitter. Shit, I can't have links there. Just whisper me. DM me on Twitter. Oh, not on Twitter. Or fucking Twitch. Let me see. Okay, let me just mute myself on Twitch here. All right. The video download was. I'm not trying to download that thing. What are you doing? Okay, what is wrong with my Twitch? Okay, for some reason my Twitch video keeps glitching out for me. Doesn't matter. Can you all see the Twitch thing normally? Because maybe it's just on my end. Maybe I just misclicked something. All right, good. Then it is on my end. All right, let's see. Messages. Oh, Kara. Okay, so looking at your stuff right now, uh, here's what I'm gonna tell you. You have reached a point where you're about 6 months of specific study away from nailing it. Your problem right now is this. A lot of this stuff looks like you're not using references. Use references. Always use references. This is how you fully master the thing. It feels like at some point in your life you were committed to using references, but then you got comfortable with the concept of style. And the problem with style is a bunch of consciously made mistakes. Uh, and the longer you spend away from using any references and re-anchoring your proportions and your knowledge and your fundamentals in reality, the more those mistakes start to run rampant. So you have a lot of stuff that's like, anatomically undefined. There's the one with the what's it called? Just a second. There's like a sorcerer's thing that's like in front of like a tree. The one with like a blue stuff, right? um, Her entire top area is completely poorly defined, and not because you don't know how to paint or draw or design, but because you didn't spend enough time understanding the reference, the material, the anatomy of the upper torso and the shoulders. And this, by the way, this ain't just you. This is about fucking 60-70% of artists out there. They underestimate just how freaking layered and complex that area is and how expressive it is. Again, other things, what you get from using references is you get to improve your lighting setups. There are excellent reference materials that you can get online. There's like sometimes you have to invest in yourself. Buy yourself some photographic packages. There's a bunch of them on ArtStation that basically are like nothing but dramatic illuminations. Practice from those, implement those, because like you have like it's basically I'm looking at your stuff, right, and it's like missing that final oomph. Sometimes it's a matter of composition, like the wizard pirate image. Like it's cool, it's got all the parts that should make it work properly, except the composition is frontal, flat, and a little bit boring. Like imagine if you had a camera and then you tilted that camera a bit below, and then you could see those tentacles looming from above. You could see the owl kind of flying from above. You understand? Like it's that. You have to also work hard on your what's it called? Just thumbnailing stage. Like thumbnailing stage is a massive thing for people who are doing illustrations. Now, I generally don't use that much of that, but that's because I'm practicing something different right now. My entire approach right now is I'm working on improving my moment to moment decision making. So when you're trying to, like, honestly, here's the thing. I think you might actually benefit from trying to do things the way I do it. I know it's crazy, but uh, I'm trying to figure out how I could suggest an exercise for you that would combine good, strong use of reference with just kind of freehand painting from the get-go, just to kind of get a strong idea of a scene. Because, like, it would be a fucking tragedy if you quit. I'm gonna tell you this honestly. You actually have it. You just didn't commit to certain elements that are basically supposed to bind everything together, and that's what's fucking with you right now. So get yourself good, strong reference materials. By strong reference materials, I mean like let me show you something. Right? Where do I have it? I've invested recently heavily into buying a bunch of good reference stuff. I'm trying to find stuff that's actually clothes. Uh, for the very reason of like, where is it? Just a second. Because I've been doing a lot of 3D sculpting. That's also what's been helping my leveling up of like just understanding of materials of what's it called light, shadow, all that stuff. So where was that? Let me just like, for instance, this is like a set I've recently bought of this one model that she does a bunch of like these photo sessions that are basically you buy reference sets, and then like they do a lot of like cool illuminations so that you can actually see how certain colors appear and how you understand what I mean, like uh, see how this is like just a very kind of well-defined illumination. Your stuff tends to fall into a very kind of a diffuse blurred illumination that doesn't really it doesn't help you get that final level of definition. And like that's your thing right now. You really need to reach that definition. Even with stylized work, it still carries like these kinds of uses of contrasts, of like intenser edges around corners of illumination. Like it all carries. So that's literally one of those things that you need to commit yourself to, like mastering the use of contrast, mastering anatomy, if possible. Get yourself there. If there is one book I should always recommend, it is one simple book that just fucking does wonders for everybody's knowledge of anatomy, because it was literally made for what's it called for artists, and it's called Anatomy for Sculptors. It is insane. It will literally hard carry your skill leveling up like crazy. Combine that with some intense studies of good, strong reference materials. If you want to make those studies fun for yourself, take what you're drawing and then convert that into like some cool character. It's gonna do wonders for your motivation. And then once you've done, let's say, a few months, like 2 or 3 months of that, do at least 2 or 3 months of what I do, where it's like no sketch, no nothing, just kind of attack the canvas, so that you improve your initial instinct for strong compositions, for strong contrasts, like start thinking through colors, thinking through light, through shadow, to just kind of boost that up. I promise you, it's gonna do wonders for your style, because for your approach, because it's very good. Like you actually have what it takes. You just never finished it. Thanks, Naomi. All right, now back to this. What about my anatomy books? So yeah, my anatomy books. First one, above all, is Anatomy for Sculptors because it's a very overall book. Second one, you want to master facial expressions, literally from same people, Anatomy of Facial Expressions. If I had that in my younger days, right now I would be a god walking among all of you, okay? Like, you don't understand how fucking valuable that book is. And they have other two. They have Form of Head and Neck, and they have the one that's they've kickstarted. I've actually bought in on their Kickstarter. The arm and shoulder, arm and head. I forgot what it's called, but like just focuses on arm and like the way they explain it. I've learned more with their fucking one book than I've have like in years and years of fucking anything else. I think on Twitch my command should still like I've literally valued those books so much that I had a let's see exclamation mark books. Hell yeah! All right, see, there we go. Still works. Because like that's one of the end game things with illustrators, with concept artists, with designers. You're supposed to be able to combine strong references with a very strong innate knowledge of anatomy of your own, like and like how to make things, and that's how you get to that level. Like at this point, I can take for references of anything and turn them into my characters, or I can just draw them because I've used references for so long that I've memorized a lot of it. Also, what helped for me is I've at some point really gotten interested in 3D sculpting, and 3D sculpting is an excellent way to practice anatomy because you kind of have to do it from literally every corner. So it's a very kind of studious thing. It is not necessary, however. So don't get the impression that oh my god, now I have to do that too. It's like no, it's just like if you ever had an interest in that, it's a very good interest to have. It helps it helps kind of define some weak points that you never even noticed that you had. Like there's stuff still in my work that's like fucking weak as shit, but it'll get there. At this point, I know it'll get there because like you know I've seen myself progress from nothing, you know, and I know that I got what it takes to pull it off in the end. So it just takes the grind time. All right. Yeah, 3D sculpting is good for composition too. This is why a lot of people use. I still don't even know where that is in Clip Studio, and I should fucking look into it. Uh, where you have like 3D posable mannequins in 3D Studio, where you can just pose a scene in 3D and just kind of use it as a kind of a sketch, and like that's fucking awesome. But for the love of God, if you're gonna use that, also combine that with photo references because those mannequins don't really translate well to subtleness of anatomy. Like they're good in proportions, but like it's one of those things. Like I always have this joke with Linda where I can look at a comic and literally point and say, yeah, it's like that's Trace 3D, that's Trace 3D, that's Trace 3D, and I know it by the shoulders because none of those models have properly rigged shoulders that behave in a way that shoulders do. Because shoulders are a mess. And Art of Danny, if you start doing that, just contact me every month during a stream and tell me, hey, I've been practicing. Here's my new stuff. Tell me what you think, and I will. Because Lord knows I have no intention of stopping these streams. They're fun. It's basically all the human interaction that I get. Yeah, because like using toys, using models, using all of that stuff, like it's perfectly fine. But yeah, you really need to combine it with references because it doesn't carry. Alright, I need to do this, I need to do this area, and then I need to fine tune and detail a few more things, and then it's gonna be done. So let's say I have about like maybe an hour and a half left. And I've been here for 2.5 hours, so technically I'm gonna finish this tomorrow. Either that or in the morning today. But I'm not gonna stream that. I'm not gonna fucking go like, it's 6 a.m. It's 3 a.m. your time. Let's go. We're streaming. I'm just gonna do that offline. Yep. But especially shoulders, because shoulders are fucking nuts. Like shoulders are, you know, shoulders are like, hey, it's like, where's brush this one? Yeah. Why are you not painting? Ah, never mind. I see why. Shoulders are like, hey, it's a shoulder, you know. It's like, hey, it looks like this, and it's like, it's like it has its little triangle here where there's like a dip in the muscles. There's a, this is a shoulder, and this is like very subtle. But then you put pressure upon it, and then all of a sudden, like the shoulder fucking bulges like crazy. This thing fucking digs in like crazy. The muscles deform here, like or like her shoulder leans forward, and then it's a completely different thing again. Then this thing is a little like a gap here, but then it creates a massive triangle hole here where the clavicle is, and the chest, and then the arm. Like it's just such an expressive part of human body that changes its shape so drastically because its whole thing is like it's basically this basically pile of smaller like kind of segments that just kind of connect here, and then like every motion you make, it just completely changes the topology of it. And it's like, when you're doing a 3D, this is a shoulder, yeah, all right. When the shoulder is under stress and going up, this is a shoulder, yeah, all right, cool, yes, close enough. It just cracks me up every time. Which one's this? Oh, it's this one. Oh boy, I got a lot of stuff to finish, but that's a good problem to have, actually. I am not complaining. I'm actually enjoying myself on all of these. Yeah, it's such a weird thing. It's like, of all the parts of anatomy, like those are usually the hardest to rig, because the only way to rig them properly is to do a proper muscle simulation. Otherwise, or either that or like a lot of shape keys that are going to help with just transformation in certain positions. Because otherwise, oh my god, like it's just a whole mess. So basically, most of these 3D models that are used for art references tend to be flawed, very flawed, supremely, extremely, terrifyingly flawed. So yeah, take them always with a grain of salt. Combine them with some reference materials at any given point. Wow, it's so funny. When I was younger, when like the whole digital art thing was just basically getting started, like I was there again of 3,000 years ago. Like it was such a combination of professionals and absolute fucking obsessive noobs that had like all the weird bad ideas about how to do things. So at the time, like the ongoing theory was that using references was cheating. That fucking cost me a decade of progress almost. Because I was like, the only way I can get to do a thing is if I look at the stuff intensely for a while and then later draw it from my memory. That's the only way that makes it real. So I spent a fucking decade working on weird, distorted things that looked like shit. So yeah. Hmm. All right. Oh, and it's gonna be the stream for today. Cause I'm gonna take a small break. I'm gonna stretch. Gonna lift some weights. Gonna get the blood flowing, and then I'm gonna get back to work and do other stuff. Cause nothing stops this train. So, hey, remember when the conventional wisdom learned how to draw comics was to trace Rob Liefeld comics? That was never the conventional wisdom. Stop it. All right. Anyways, thank you all